till the last session, like Friday, we were discussing about the objects, what kind of objects we have. So, is there any questions in that one? Have you guys created your instance, tried to create those objects? Anything? Any updates?
No, Ravi, we didn't still get access.
Okay, we didn't get the access. All right. Let me one second.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so what is that? I mean, what is the issue you are facing? I mean, have you raised your request and still not getting it, or what's the thing? Where are you waiting for?
Yeah, we raised it on Friday, but still now the status is showing it is not generated.
Mhm. Okay, and is that about everyone? Like, Sri Harsha, what about you?
Yeah, I raised it on Friday,
Okay,
Ravi.
all right. Mayur,
Yeah, already have instance.
you have it right. Again, Swami.
Yeah, not active.
Right now, yeah. Hello.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
not
go ahead,
active.
Mayur. Okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mayur.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah, you're saying something?
No, I'm missing something. What do you say?
No, I'll just ask,
Hello?
did you have your instance with you or not? I mean, is that created
No,
or not?
right now I don't have it. Right now I'm just going on mobile. I'm just on mobile screen. I'm outside right now. Today I will show you.
Mm-hmm.
The instance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go and discuss the other objects we have. I mean, the the proper Appian kind of just the introduction of the Appian objects what we have it. Let's see by tomorrow or if you guys have the access. Otherwise, what I'll do, I'll create an instance. I mean, I'll create your account IDs, one generic account in my instance, and then that can be used by all of you. It just we have to make sure that we create a separate applications and then work upon it. So we are on it and we are trying to create that one user ID as a generic and then share with you all. Okay. All right. So meanwhile, let's go and discuss about the further objects that we have. We have talked about the folders. We have talked about the expression roles. We also talk about the constants, interface, process models. Is there any questions in that one, guys? I mean, theoretically, did you, I mean, understand this one on, have you guys got the idea about what these objects are? Okay, so let's have a quick, question and answer. So, Mayur, what is the data type?
Yeah. Mm, Data type is a kind of fields where we means our data has been stored. Kind of data has been there.
Mm-hmm.
Means where we where our all fields had been there. Means all the fields are there. Whatever we create on our interfaces form that are stored in that data type.
Okay. Anyone else want to add? I mean, like, can this want to describe what is the data type in Appian?
Data type is nothing but primitive. There is a custom data type that we store the
Mm-hmm.
information.
Collection of primitive data types. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, and what is an expression rule, guys?
It is used to store the expression that can be called for expressions, and where we can use it in rule input for dynamically you can change it.
Expression
That
is
is
nothing
correct.
but a function.
Mm-hmm. The user defined functions, basically. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of folders we have in Appian?
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat it?
What kind of folders we have in Appian?
We have rule input and that one. No
The
process.
folders. The folders. I'm asking, folders.
Folder. Uh,
We have rule folder,
Document folder.
document folder,
Document
and
folder.
then process model folder, and knowledge center. Yeah. All right. What is an interface?
Mm. The
Interface is nothing but
interface is an
UI.
object,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that return one or more components to display in a recorded view.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to add, Swami?
It's nothing but UI. What exactly we want to view.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Where the designer can show to the users.
Mhm. That's correct. Okay. And what is the process model,
Describing a
Mayur?
workflow. Okay, so
Okay, that is
yeah,
correct. Yeah. What is the process model, Mayur?
that's a workflow. For the we In that we define through workflow for the
Mhm.
tasks we define for the task. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, what are the two basic things? I mean, the initial or inbuilt, you can say the smart services are there when you create a when you create a process model. Swami, when you create a process model, what are the two things you will be seeing?
Process model.
Yeah. It will have start and end event, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's look some few more objects that we have. So as we discuss all these objects, right, we have something called data source. Okay. So what is a data source? So I mean, data source is an object which is used to connect a relationship between your table and your CDT. When this will two becomes at one place, all right, to create an entity which is nothing but a connection point, which will tell you that from which table you want to retrieve the data or to which table you want to write the data. Okay, so to get a connection between the data tables and the your CDT that we have created, right, the custom data type. See, because suppose if you want to pull a data from the employee table, right, so employee table may have the name, first name, last name, DOB, uh, date of joining, email, and all blah blah, lots of fields, right? So what we have to do, we have to also create a custom data type at app inside, which will have the same structure of your table, right? Now, if we are going to call the database, right? Okay, please give me the record of employee one, right? So when it will return the data, there should be something, right, which can hold that data in a proper order, right? Like suppose if I, for example, let's say we have another CDT called college, where you have the college name, college, phone number, college address, or something like that, right? So when we try to pull employee record to the college CDT, will be able to get that information? No, right? Because the structure of a college is different. The structure of table is different, right? So to bring the data and to capture and to organize in a such in a proper structure, we should also have a custom data type created, same structure as the table has it. Got it? Any confusion here? So we can also create a custom data type with the same structure of my table, and we will bring both together as a data source. In the data source, what we will do, we will make a connection point which will treat as an entity. Okay, so entity will be used to make a connection between your Appian and table. How it will look like? Let me create one. Let me show you. Test data store. I'll say create. So, I mean, what will happen when we create that one, right? Suppose we have a table in our database and we have a entity, the CDT. So whenever we will create a CDT, you remember, right? While creating the CDT, we have seen that it has four types to create a CDT, right? Right now, we have seen one type where we are manually creating the fields, right? We also have the other way where we can create the CDT based on the table structure. Okay, so what happens? So when we create that CT with the table structure, That CDT will have internal connection with the table, and that table connection will be established here. So we can say add entity. Here we will say the entity name. We can define the entity name, and then we will say that this particular entity we need to connect. So what will happen? Our CDT will be get connected to our table. So whenever we will make a query, all right, we will get you will see this one, right? I'm just giving you the theoretical part what a data store is for, right? So what it will do, it will create an connection point that we will call a entity, and that entity will be used to write and read the data from the table. Okay, clear? Any doubt? What is a data store? Yes, no, not applicable, guys.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, let me try to find something. I can try to show you guys, and then uh, yeah, I got it. Let me share my screen. Okay, so here's the thing. This is, suppose this is a table, right? This particular structure is nothing but the table. Okay, as we see, right, the MariaDB data table is available, right? So this is a table, and this is the Appian Designer instance. In that Appian Designer Appian instance, right, we are trying to create a data store. So this is the data store we have created. Now in table we have multiple tables, like say employee, comments, and blah blah blah. Other tables are there, right? So what we will do, based on this employee table, we will also create an employee CDT, right? And that CDT, we'll create a say IMS employee or whatever the name, you can create a CDT, and that employee CDT we can connect to in the data store as an entity, which will be internally connected to this particular table. All right. So what will happen, whenever we design a CDT, we will design in such a way that internally it will have some connections with the table. Okay. So that is how CDT to data store and data store to table, there will be a connection established, which will be used to write and read the information from and to the table. Okay. Cool.
So we are mapping the field here.
We are not, we are mapping the field. That field will be mapped into the CDT level. We'll see how it looks like and how the connection has been established into the in the backend. What happens whenever we create a CDT, internally it generates an XST file. Okay, in the XST file you will be able to see that this particular field has been mapped with which column into the table. All right. So we'll see that XST file. So if we are going to create a CDT as a by from the scratch, like manually, that will not have the connections with the tables. But if we create a CDT with the third option that we have, right, by using the table, in that case, we will have a connection established into the XST file, which will talk about like this particular attribute is been mapped to this particular column in the table. All right, we'll see that. Okay, is that clear now? Data store. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have something called record type. So what is a record type? So record type is very powerful tool in Appian, and we will be working around this record type. So record type is a center of data. You can see, where you can take action on it. Like suppose we are going to create a new record. Like say we are going to apply a new request for leave, right? So there will be, whenever we apply a new request for a leave, that is nothing but a new record that we are going to enter into the table, right? Now suppose we change our mind and we have applied for next week. Now we change our mind saying that no, let's move that my leave from next to second last week. All right, so like we want to make some update on my request, right? So what we can do, we can also perform the update request action to my data. So for that we will be requiring this record. Record is a very powerful tool in Appian, and every application you will be creating, we will be using this record. And record are like four types we can create. One, we can create like connect to the database. So all those data that we have into the table, we will be able to see into the Appian record. Second thing is that we can also work with the Appian instances. So what happens whenever we run some process model, right? So in the backend, instances are active. So based on those instances, we can create the record data. Third is that we can also create a third party record. So in third party record, what happens? We suppose you want to bring the data from somewhere else outside of Appian. So we can create this query and third party API call and then get the data back to the Appian record, and we can create the Appian record. And then fourth one that it has given is a directly Salesforce. Like you can directly map with the Salesforce if you have account, and then from there you can get the data. All right, the most useful record is that entity based record, that is nothing but connection with the database table. So what else we can do in the record? A record is, you can add two records in one record, right? Just like the feature of a view, right? In the view, we can create two tables, and we have two tables, and we can have a concept of view, right? We can create a view. So to eliminate the use of the minimal views, because the complex view still you have to create a view. But if there are certain views which is, not have much logic or complexity within it, right? So we can avoid that, creating that view, and then we can have that adding relationship feature into the record, which will be very useful and faster than the view call. And we will be creating some new record and then update the record and delete the record. All those kinds of actions we can take on a particular record. So that's why the Appian records is very powerful, and it will be very useful for your application development. All right, so that is about the Appian record. Okay, so now we have something called process report. So process report is kind of, like suppose if we have generated instances, many instances will be running in the backend, right? Whenever we trigger a process model, so many instances will be getting, running into the backend. So those instances will definitely have some data to it, right? So based on, those instances, we can retrieve those data and display on the screen. So that is nothing but a process report. So process report also is many kind of, like task report, process instance report, process model report. So we will see that the most useful process report is the task report, where we have to get the details of a task to display on the Appian screen. All right, any questions on the record and the process report, guys?
All right.
All right, so something we also have called report. This report is nothing but tempo report, it's just the interface. When whatever interface you will be creating, like suppose if you want to create some chart, line chart, pie chart and all, right, and we want to display on the report tab of Appian, then we can make create of this report. It's just the one configuration where we have to configure the interface that we have built, that's all. So this is nothing but a tempo report, where you can display the charts and all right. Okay, the next, the best feature of Appian is called site. So initially, if you remember, right, I have mentioned to you guys that there was only one interface that user was using, that was the tempo. And here we will be seeing all those tasks and taking an action, all right. What was the issue with the tempo is that, suppose you are part of 4 applications in your organizations, all those 4 applications tasks will be displayed here. you know uh, you cannot distinguish like which task belongs to what application if the names are not proper, right? You cannot characterize it and then show it here, right? There's no way. So that's why Appian comes up something, and the UI also, it was very basic. It will look like you are working on a tool, right? Not web application. So that's why the Appian comes up with the feature called site. In that, what happens, whenever you work on an application, it will look like that you are working on a proper web applications. For example, let's say I'll say um, supervisor site. There's some site that user has, Appian has created and said, right? So you see this is a web page. Looks like you are working on a web page. Still you are within the Appian, but it seems like you are working on a web page where you can have tabs and then pages according to that, and all those things. So this is the water feature of a tab. Sorry, site. So there's a one restrictions as well. The one best thing is that the site will be belongs to only one application. If you have part of 4 applications, you will have 4 different sites. All right. So you can know which application you are working on currently. There are certain limitations as well. Just like that, you can see there are 3 tabs. You cannot have more than 5 tabs on a site. But there's a workaround. User can make some sub screens in the below, and then there you can have multiple things. But yeah, at the top you can have maximum of 5 tabs. And one more limitation is there, like you can only configure records, reports, process model and interface, which is far enough to have all the features of Appian to be covered, right? So all those things we can configure into the site. All right. Any questions on the site? All right. So this is a new feature, the portals. The portal is a very new feature and it has been launched like last release itself. So what is the use of a portal? So to use an Appian, you must have credentials, right? So that's why what was happening, the for other users, right, the third party users which does not have the credentials of Appian, they were not able to, open any web page of Appian and then, do some investigations, post some questions and all, right. So they were not allowed initial phase. So Appian comes up with a concept called portals, where you will be able to design a web page in a such a way that the users who does not have the credentials can also be able to access that page. And if you have configured some questions like posting the questions or asking about your tickets status and all, right, those things you can do it, and then it will create an entry into the database. Basically you will be able to interact with Appian without having the credentials created with you, right? So that is the use of portals. It's recently launched last release itself, and then they are still enhancing it a lot of things. Okay, so we have also talked about the expression rules. We have seen that the use. Now we have something called decision. So what is a decision? Let's try to create one decision table. So in the decision table, what happens? So decision table, like suppose we want to have based on an input, I want to get a proper output. What is the output I want to get it? So how do we do that? So let's say let me remove one input. Okay, so by default we have given two inputs, input one and output. When I say when my input is A, give some output. Okay, based on that I want to get some output. Now if my input is B, then I want something else, right? For example, I'll say here Ram, I'll say Mohan, I'll say Sham, say Shiva. Okay, now here as I've defined, I will define some rule here. I'll say, right, when what I want to have it, right, if user is passing A, return me Ram. If user is passing B, return me Mohan. If user is passing C, return me Sham, or in the following manner. So what happens if you want to create this logic into your Appian by using if statement, right? The first thing that will come into my mind is will that, I'll put a if condition as a nested if. I'll say if input is equal to A, print Ram, else if is input is equal to B, print Mohan, something like that, right? Which will we go a very long lengthy code, right? So to reduce this code structure and all, right, Appian comes up with the feature called decision table, where you can put your decision table and then you can return your data back. Now it also has some things like, three features, like you want a unique order, you want to have the first one, or you want to have a rule order, right? Now suppose I am passing my input as an A, the output will be Ram. If I pass my input as a C, my input output will be Sham. Now tell me, if I pass E, what I will get?
Will it be error?
Mhm. I'm passing E as an input, then what I will get?
So default will complete. Great.
Sorry.
So default value will come correct.
Yes, the default. And what is the default value? Girdhari. So you see
Girdhari.
that the last one is the come as a default value. Why? Because this else statement has been executed, because whatever input we are passing is not matching anywhere. Now let's say this also has A. Okay, and then now I, instead of unique, I'll just say first. Okay, now I pass A here. What I will get? I still get A. Why?
Some
Because
ambiguity
it says,
problem.
sorry.
some ambiguity problem will come, right? Both is Ram and Shyam.
No, so there, no, the thing is that it says first, wherever it will match first, it will return the result. Doesn't matter what you have at that other places, right? Now, if you want
Okay.
to have, if you want to have this, all right, let me see. Now, if you see that, right, the A matches both the two places, right? So that's why what happened. I'm getting Ram and Sham. All right. So this is what
Okay.
about the decision table. So it is very good to use. Instead of writing in nested if codes, we can still go with the decision table, and it can also have work with not only single inputs, multiple inputs. Like suppose you want to have some AND condition where A is equal to Ram and B is equal to Sham, then you write some values, right? So those kind of things also you can put it into the decision table. Right? Cool. All right. Any questions?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now, 1 second, guys. Okay. So we talk about all those, and then we also talk about the constants. Now we have something called connected system integration and API. These are the very important features as well into the Appian. So this will allow you to interact with the third parties. Now suppose you want to bring the data from the third party to Appian. In that case, we will be using integration object. So integration object will be used to bring the data from third party within the Appian. Okay, and then API. When you want to expose your Appian data to the third party, we will be using APIs. Okay, we will see how to create. There will be classes for the how to create an integration object, how to create an API object. So we will see that one, right? Connected system is used to create a connection point. Like suppose from one API call, there are multiple calling points. Like suppose there is a API call for mathematical call. Okay, and in that one we have different parameters. We have addition, we have subtractions, we have multiplications, right? So we don't need to create new connections for each time. What we can do, we can make a connections with this mathematical call once as a base point, and after that same connected system can be used for addition slash subtraction slash multiplication and likewise, right? So that is the use of the connected system. Connect once, use multiple, right? And APIs are definitely APIs. When you want to expose your API data to the third party, you can create all those calls. Have is used as a REST call, not the SOAP call. Okay, all right. And any questions here, guys? What is the connected system integration and APIs?
Yeah, Ravi, can you repeat it one more time?
Which part? I mean, basically.
Integration.
Okay. So when you want to bring your data from third party to Appian, right? Like
Okay.
suppose you are getting data from somewhere else and you want to have that data into the Appian, we can create an integration object, right? We can hit their URLs and then we can get the data from third party to Appian. We will be doing a REST call. Now, in the same way, if you want to expose your Appian data to third party, we can create an web APIs. And connected system is used to make a connection between your API call providers. Connect, so you can connect once and you can use multiple times for different services. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then we have something called document. Appian also gives you the knowledge. If you remember, we had this. So we have shown that we have seen that in the folder types we have something called knowledge center. So that knowledge center also has a document folder. You can also upload your document to the system, and if you want to share that document with someone else, you can create that as well. You can also generate document based on your data. So all those documents will be get captured into the knowledge center folders, right? And you can also upload some images and all, right? So that is the document will be used to create. All right, now we have something called group and group type. So group are basically used to provide the security to your objects. Like suppose um, there is there is such a process model which you don't want to access by someone else, right? It should be limited to a particular group. In that case, we will be using this group. Group is also required for a process security and then the application security. Like if I don't include any other users into the group, they should not be able to access this application. So there, the group will be, will be useful. We have also seen the folders, and we something have called feed. Like suppose if you are going to deploy some objects and all, right, so it will create a feed. So if you see the news tab here, you will be able to see that all those feeds that this application has been deployed, or if you want to have any news feeds based on your applications, like this request has been approved and all, right, so we can generate a news feed, which is not in use much as of now. Nowadays, people are not using this one because the email feature they wanted to go with, because news feeds has very less security features, right? So that's the reason. So these are the objects, guys, we have in Appian, which is used to create an entire applications. I didn't talk about the robotic task because this is very recently introduced, and we are not going to cover this RPA, Appian, because that is a different, topic at all. I mean, it will take a 2 months course, and it's very recently it has been launched. So we are not going to talk about the RPA things. But although these objects, we will be definitely creating it for your application development. All right. Any questions, guys?
What is group type? Yeah, can you explain that?
So group type is basically, I mean, group type is to define, like suppose there's a possibilities that uh, your application can also have a same group name. My application can also have a same group name. So we can create a group type based on our application specific. So there we can go and use our group type. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So these are the objects. These are the objects that we will be creating for our application development. Now, I'm not sure if other people are going to join or not, but let's let's decide one application. Like, which use case you guys want to have it, so we can start working from the tomorrow onwards on that application. So we will be creating tables and all, right. So any application development requires a good data model. If you have a data model, proper data model, right, then we can create these applications straight away, and then without any um, very less confusion and all, right, because data model is very important for any application development. So do you guys have anything in your mind, like any use case that you wanted to go with?
Can we explain me record type? Just
Sorry.
record type. Can you explain once again record type?
Record type.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, there are four kinds of record. Okay, in Appian. So one is called uh, entity-based record. One is called process-based record. One is the third party, and then we have a Salesforce, right? So basically, the record, what it means, right? It's a center of data. Where you can also go and um, work with your data. Like you can take action on it, and then you can update it, you can delete it, or all those things that you want to perform, you can have uh, in your record. So record type is also allows you to have some features of called relationship, which is very important. Why? Because Appian wanted to eliminate or reduce the use of a view, because view calls are very what to say, that views calls are very high, taking memory congestions and all, right. So that's why, so they have come with this record, Appian record, which is used to work, add to record in, and then return you the data as a based on a view, right. You can combine two tables and return the data to the system. It will also allow you to display the data into the grid format. You can take an action, like if you want to update this particular record, you can do that. If you want to delete a record, you can do that. So all those things is possible by using the record. So basically, Appian record is the center of Appian development, where you can have all those features all those actions created, we call related actions or record actions to build your application, right?
Okay.
Hmm. So yeah,
Uh,
I mean, as I mentioned, do you have anything in your mind, like that?
Hello, Ravi Kumar. This is Dayanidhi from UK. Recently joined this training session.
Mhm.
I'm new to the APN platform and just want to know about this is first class or second class? I just want to.
This is the third class where we are just discussing about the Appian objects. We haven't started the development, but we are discussing about the Appian objects. We just finished, like, what are the Appian objects we have, what kind of objects is used to create what and all, right? So that we discussed. We talk about in the first session, we talk about the Appian demo, like, how the Appian works, what kind of feature it has, and what is the market positioning right now. So all those things we have discussed till today, but we haven't started the development yet. So if you want to continue, you can ask the organizers to give you the videos of last three sessions, where you can go and have a look how it's what we discussed basically.
Okay, okay. Basically, business analyst. I have a 10 years experience in this ERP and worked in product companies.
Hmm.
If I started the APN trainings, should I learn from the development side from there or directly start doing BPM and so these kind of uh, use cases, epic stories and all?
See, I mean, if you have your project, like, you need to have some crash course, like we are providing, like, 1 month or something in a detail. We are giving a detailed development experience, how do we create. So what we will do, we'll take a use case and then we start development, from the day one. I mean, from the whenever we start, like from the next class, we are thinking of starting this application development, right? So that's why I was looking for a use case. So once we are at the end of the sessions, we will be having one, application ready with us. Like, for example, last time we did for like leave management system and all, right? So how you start is that you will create POCs, and if you have your real projects going on, if you are part of that, you can still be able to work on that one. It will take some time to get in full fledged development, but yes, you
Okay.
can.
Is it possible, shall I see some already developed mobile app or something in APN? For example, creating
So
some order.
whenever you will register on your Appian community, right, and you get your instance, Appian gives you like 10 to 12 built application with by them, so you will be able to
Okay.
see that one already.
Okay. Mhm. So how to request this one, the instance? Need to pay any amount in the
So
APN?
I mean, from where you get this link to join? I mean, from that number you can contact Sharita.
Okay.
Harsha Trainings will be there for to respond on your questions for this recording and all.
Okay. So the training academy is giving user with the credentials or only
No, we are not
APN
giving
people?
it. You need to register yourself on this Appian community and you will get it by your own. Right now, what is happening, many people are requesting it, so it is getting delayed, like 2 days it is taking to be generated.
Yeah, for me, it's around 1 month I'm waiting. I'm not able to get instance. APN Academy supports giving a user credentials for us to study and get the certification.
Yeah, I mean, it's very costly, right? We can't buy it, right? So that definitely Appian gives you the free instance to work on. So yeah, from there, and we are in the process of creating, like from my instance, I'm in the process of creating some users accounts, generic user account, which can be used by multiple users. It's just we have to make sure that you give your applications names in such a way that you work with your applications, but do not delete any other applications on someone else code and all, right? So we are in process of creating that account.
Okay.
So once we will get that, then we will be sharing with you all of guys, and then
Mhm.
on like on faith that you will not be disturbing others code.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
will not get it. So we can open our own objects with application designer and start making some little projects and we can work on that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yes. Cool. Okay. So yeah, guys. I mean, do you have anything in your mind? Any use case you wanted to go through, or to create an applications you have come across, something like that? So last time, I guess I did for the incident management system where we are creating a uh, system case with this support team that suppose my email is not working and something like that, and we're generating this incident number and then sharing with this incident number with the customers, and then also taking this task for an approval to the managers and all, right? So those kind of applications we created, which covers most of the things. So if you want to have, we can go with the leave management system, or we can have some other use case if you want. So let me know. All right.
One more question, Rikima. In
Yeah.
this training, you're also covering the topics like IDP, intelligent document processing, these kind of advanced integrations and all you're handling, or only the basic?
Yes, yes. So we will be covering these connected system integration, web APIs, document processing, so all those things we will be covering. We are not covering only two topics, that is like a separate chapter for Appian. We can say this IDP, the intelligent document processing, and then the RPA, the robotic process automation. These two topics we are not covering it. Apart from that, all those things that is required for a basic Appian development, we will be covering that.
Okay.
Even
So, for
portal has been introduced
example,
very recently. Yeah.
if you are handling the integration to other ERP, for example, like SAP or Zoho, so will you show with the third party as well, or only the APN?
See, we cannot. I mean, that we do not have any third party with us, right? Any credentials like Salesforce or something. So what we do, we use the freely available third parties from the system, from the Google, and then we connect with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, guys. So let's connect tomorrow, and then what we will do. We'll decide a use case. Better if you guys can think of and come up with some use case. Otherwise, we can go with this leave management system or incident, whatever you will see that, and then we'll be starting the development from tomorrow. Hope you will get the instances ready for you guys who have already registered for it. Otherwise, I'll be in the process of creating one case. I mean, generic user account, which should be used by everyone, and then we'll share with you guys. Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
right.
All right. Thanks. Thanks everyone for joining, and then we'll connect tomorrow for the development. Will start.